You really think you could beat me in a fight? Ha! No, but he can. Where's my oversized knockoff? What's going on, everybody? And in this video, we're going to be taking a look at this oversized knockoff of the Transformers Studio Series Rise of the Beasts Optimus Prime. Now, when I first saw this guy on the pictures, I immediately thought it was a Bayway knockoff, as Bayway was working on their knockoff version of the 102 Optimus Prime. However, it turned out to be a knockoff from MHZ, another third-party company. And what MHZ intended to do was make an oversized knockoff of the SS-102 Optimus Prime. There is still a Bayway knockoff Optimus Prime. It has yet to be released, or for now. Till then, let's take a look at this guy, but before, let's take a quick look at the packaging. Starting off, this looks like it was taken from a poster. That's why the smokestack and the panel have been inverted to avoid copyright. Also, for any of you wondering what this paper is sticking onto the front, it was a stamp that I made the attempt of removing, but there was some leftovers stuck onto the front. On the top is a nice Supreme Commander logo, and on the bottom is surprisingly not boring. And then on the back is what you can do with this figure, as well as some other features that you could do for the alternate mode. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for packaging. Without further ado, let's get on with the figure. So starting off, painting and sculpting, pretty good. Much better than the paint scheme for the original SS-102 Optimus Prime, that's for sure. As anything that was gray in the original has been repainted silver on this knockoff. Another method of avoiding copyright was completely removing the Autobot logos on the shoulder, but you could probably replace that with Autobot stickers, as sometimes when you buy stuff on AliExpress, they'll give you a set of stickers that you can stamp onto your figures. Also, I gotta admit, that head sculpt is looking nice. The eyes look pretty good too. Also, one thing that I thought was pretty cool, it's a small detail, but when you open the chest, this piece that was gray on the original is mostly red now to make things a little bit more color accurate for the chest, and I like that. I like that small detail. Now, for some reason on the right chest, this metal rod is still there, whereas on the left one, not so much. Not sure what that's all about. The smokestacks are unfortunately a little bit oversized, just like on the original, but me personally, I'm not bothered by that, but I am aware that there are a few people out there that are quite bothered by that oversized smokestack. Also, on my copy, I got two of the same panels, as one should be different from the other, but they're both identical. Not sure what's going on over there. To my surprise, it does not affect the transformation. Moving on to the back, there are a few parts on the back that are accurately painted, and then just rather having one wheel on the side, you get two of them on this figure to make things a little bit more truck accurate. As on the original, it was just one wheel. And then the feet is a little bit more silverish than the original, as well as a little bit of parts remaining blue. And then there's also back truck lights slapped onto the back of the foot. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the details. Quality-wise, surprisingly, not so bad. Unlike most knockoffs, you can actually surprisingly remove this guy's head without zero problems. On the original, when moving the arm back and forth, this silver section would combust, or at least it was gray on the original, but on the knockoff, not so much. It stays in place. Almost forgot to mention that the thighs, rather than the feet, are made of die-cast metal parts, which is quite interesting. They went with the thighs being die-cast metal rather than the feet, but hey, this is MHZ and not Bayway. On the OP01 knockoff, however, the crutch was die-cast metal. Now anyways, moving on to accessories, this guy comes with a lot of accessories. Rather than just one sword and arm cannon, this guy comes with two swords, which could plug in the same as the original Hasbro version. Forgot to mention that the peg on one of the swords is different than the others. You could also have him hold both swords in his hands. He also comes with a movie-accurate looking axe, as you are required to remove this piece in order to plug in the axe onto his hand. Be sure to plug that back in, otherwise the axe looks a little weird. And yeah, there's Optimus Prime with his axe. There is also this piece that you could slide onto the axe, to which you could have it stored wherever, either on the side of the arm or on the back of this figure. The figure also comes with the inaccurate gun piece, which if you remember from the original, requires a little bit of transformation in order to plug the small arm cannon onto the arm. And not gonna lie, it didn't look so bad at first, but now it just looks rather inaccurate. That's why this figure comes with two accurate blaster cannons. Now it is worth mentioning that for some reason these don't tab in really easily. That's because of this piece right here. It's somehow a little bit insecure, so when you peg it onto that tab, you will have to put a little bit of force to make sure both the slot from the cannon and the tab from the arm join together. It's worth mentioning that the arm cannons will pop off easily, so do be careful. But anyways, Prime looks a little better with his accurate arm cannons, rather than this silly piece right here. But we're not done yet, as Optimus Prime does come with the rifle that he had in the Bumblebee movie, which doesn't necessarily hold in place that well. There is also a hologram of Earth from the Bumblebee movie that you can plug onto the side of Optimus Prime's arm, and then there is also a hologram for the Transwarp key. Speaking of Transwarp key, almost forgot to mention, but the knockoff comes with this goofy mold of the Transwarp key, which much like the Studio Series 1, just rests on the hand of whichever figure you decide to plug it onto. Also, I find this key to be extremely inaccurate as the Studio Series 1 does a better job, as this one just appears to be too flat. And lastly, the knockoff comes with a posable minifigure of Noah, which in my opinion looks a little bit more accurate than the Studio Series 1. In size, I think, too. I don't know. Here's a quick comparison between the two. Looks size accurate to me. Anyways, most of the articulation on this figure consists of ball joints, more ball joints, and a few hinge joints, as well as a few ball joints and hinge joints on the legs, as well as another ball joint on the foot. He also comes with a pair of arm cannons, to which you just plug in onto the side of the arms, some blast effects for the arm cannons, to which you can actually plug them onto the bottom of the feet to reference Iron Man. There is also another pair of blast effects, which plug in onto the jetpack. And lastly, Exosuit Noah does come with a pair of swords that plug on to the side of his arms. Anyways, I think that's pretty much the entire coverage of all the accessories that Optimus Prime comes with. Well, for robot mode. There's still a few things for the alternate mode we still haven't discussed yet. We'll talk about that later. But anyways, let's move on to articulation, starting off ball joint at the head, which can allow the head to move up and down, and can also allow the head to do a swivel. Full rotation at the arm, bend at the shoulder, bicep swivel, double bend at the elbow, wrist swivel, ups and downs, waist swivel, ab crunch, side skirts move out, which allows the legs to spread, leg can move forward, can't necessarily move far that backwards due to the extended... What just fell off? This metal rod piece fell off the figure. I'm not sure where it came from. Well, specifically in the toy. Anyways, thigh is on a swivel, bend at the knee, and then lastly the foot is on a ball joint, which can allow the foot to rock from side to side. It can rock to side a little bit more due to that hinge joint over there. But anyways, the ball joint can also allow the foot to move up and down slightly, and lastly can also allow the foot to do a full 360. And yeah, that's pretty much it for articulation, just like the original. But anyways, let's move on to size comparison. Starting off with the original Studio Series Voyager Class Optimus Prime, you can see that this original is somewhat on the Leader Class scale, well, modern day Leader Class scale. Mainline Rise of the Beasts Optimus Prime, the YOLO Park Optimus Prime, the Studio Series 38 Bumblebee movie Optimus Prime. To throw in a little bit of the Autobot gang from Rise of the Beasts, here he is next to Bumblebee, Pablo, Mirage, Core Class Exosuit Noah. I think the Exosuit Noah Diaz that this guy comes with is a little bit more accurate in scale. Core Class RC, Weaponizer 2-Pack RC. I think this might be the proper size scale, I could be wrong on that. Optimus Primal, Leader Class Scourge, and lastly, here he is next to the Studio Series concept art Bumblebee movie Megatron. And the gang's all here. Well, minus Stratosphere. I don't think the oversized Optimus Prime is that accurate next to the other Autobots. I feel like he's a little bit too big, but let me know in the comments what you guys think. But anyways, I think it's finally time we get down to transformation, which is pretty much the same as the original Studio Series 102 Optimus Prime, but there are a few tweaks. Starting off, what you will do is fold in the hands. Next, you're gonna wanna fold in the panel downwards, as well as rotate the arm like so. You do the same thing for the other side. And then next what you're going to want to do is open the chests up, open this panel all the way outwards, and close it right in front of Optimus Prime's face, and then shift this whole section downwards. Now don't close the chest piece yet. What you're going to want to do is crunch this piece all the way forward, move the arms upwards. You might want to untab this panel as well, And then what you're going to do next is rotate this entire section and then close in the chest piece. You also might want to get this out of the way as you want to fold out the wheels. And then we could work on the arms. What you're going to do is unfold this entire section, leave it out like so, rotate this, and then leave that out like that. Just leave it like right there, and then push this whole entire section down. What you're going to want to do next is this slot will peg onto that tab right there. Make sure both the tab and the slot join together, and then you want to close that in as well as tab this in like so. You also want to move a few panels downwards like this flat piece and this red piece, which was gray on the original Studio Series Optimus Prime. Forgot to point that out. Once you got the other side out of the way, you're going to want to go ahead and close in this entire flat piece along with the other arms, and that's pretty much the front side of the truck transformed. Now moving on to the legs. This is where the new bits of transformation steps are present, as what you're going to do is you're going to fold this down and just leave it like so. Same thing with the other side. We're going to use this leg for reference. You're going to untab that blue piece out, leave this entire section out like so. What you're going to do then is, this is new, make sure you fold that in, make sure you move that blue piece back, and then move this foot down. Make sure the slot right there tabs onto that tab right there. Make sure both the joints and the tab meet together. What you'll do next is make sure that tab pegs onto that slot right there, as well as the slot pegs onto that tab as well. Once you have both tabs and slots pegged together, you're gonna straighten this out as you want this to tab onto that slot as well, and then make sure this smokestack moves out like so. Same thing goes for the other side, and then lastly what you're gonna do is make sure both the legs tab into place. And then that's pretty much it for the transformation. Here's the truck mode, but for a little bit of parts forming and a bit of accuracies, you will come to this piece right here. Make sure that plugs in onto the back, and there you go. You have a more accurate back piece for the truck. Anyways, here's the knockoff of the SS-102 Optimus Prime in his alternate mode, and it is a big improvement to the original Studio Series Optimus Prime, especially in the back. Look at how clean that is. Of course, the silver paint on the parts that were gray on the original is a bit of an upgrade to the original, but unlike the original, the very back of the truck is a bit of an improvement as well. And of course, what is a semi-truck without the proper pair of dually wheels? Dually wheels, I think that's what you call it. I'm not 100% sure. For any of you semi-truck nerds out there, let me know. Anyways, what was originally gray on the Studio Series Optimus Prime has been remolded or repainted into red to make this whole top part completely red, kind of like the truck in the movie, or so I remember. For a quick comparison, let's see how he scales with the original Studio Series Bumblebee, and it does appear to be somewhat accurate, as in real life a semi-truck would be way much bigger than a sports car. Anyways, this is what the weapon storage for the alt mode should look like. You could see there were certain parts that tabbed in, and some of those extra bits and pieces were used to make sure some of the accessories plug in onto either the side of the truck mode or the back of the truck mode. And there were some of those little bits and pieces that were used to plug in two accessories together. As for any extras, they don't tab into anything else. So yeah, that's a bit of a bummer. Now, can you plug a trailer hitch onto the back of the truck? Not really. Unless you untab this piece right here, then there's a slot, and hopefully, no. The tab's too big to fit into that slot. Never mind. And neither does the Bayway knockoff of the Studio Series trailer also fit onto that, as I think the tab would also be bigger than the Studio Series version. But anyways, which truck mode do you think is a little bit more accurate? The knockoff of the Studio Series 102 Optimus Prime, or the Studio Series 38 Optimus Prime's alt mode? Not gonna lie, both this one and the SS38 alt mode are pretty accurate to their own versions. Anyways, leave a comment down below which one's better. And I think that's pretty much all I had to say for this guy. Overall, better than the original. If you like upscaled stuff, then this figure's just for you. Also forgot to mention that you could get this guy for as little as $25 on AliExpress. That's a $10 difference to how much the original went for, which was 35 bucks. But now he goes for a lot more than that. And then of course there's a Bayway version, which is basically this guy, but a little bit smaller. I'm sure Showz's store also had this guy for a reasonable price, but if you want to get this guy for very cheap, I most definitely recommend AliExpress. Anyways, if you like what you saw in this video, be sure to slam that like button, share this with your friends as well, turn on post notifications so that way you don't miss another video, and most importantly, be sure to hit that big red subscribe button. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. See ya!